has a pending legal deadline. So that just flags that maybe those are ones that you'd want to keep an eye on to answer first if possible. There's flags that are just outlined, red outline flags, and those are questions that are older than 10 days. So also maybe that's your second tier of answering questions. And then we have a vet flag and then a over 65 flag. So just other features that you may be interested in helping people who are veterans or over 65. You then see the legal deadline that the client has said that they have, the kind of problem, the parties in the case, which is where you'll do that conflict check for yourself just to make sure that you don't recognize the names for any of the parties involved in this question. The subject matter, and the client is the one who puts in the subject matter. So while the kind of problem they elect, and there's only a select 10 different options, the subject matter is something that they put in. So you can see how some subjects are longer than others. And we'll go through one question. The date that they submitted the question, and then you see a preview button. So you're able to click the preview button and get a little bit more information about the question that will pop up. So we saw the subject line, and then there's a little bit more details where the client explains the question. Then we could either click this link, or there's a see full question to go into the question and see it a little bit more in depth, which we'll do in a moment. You can also sort the queue. You can sort it by the kind of problem, importance, to see the veterans or people over 65. And then you can also filter the problem. So you can filter it, you can filter the queue by only the type of problem. So here are all the different kinds of problems that we see on the Free Legal Answers site. So let's say most of your experience is in family law, and maybe you have a little bit of experience in wills and powers of attorney. So you could click both of those and click apply filter, and then we would only see questions that are family law or wills and powers of attorney. And I will say that if you have family law experience, most of the questions that we do get through Free Legal Answers, just like any traditional legal aid, is family law questions. And then you can also filter by the details of the client details. So if you only wanted to see veterans or only wanted to see people above the age of 65, you could click those filters and then get questions only for that. So let's jump into a question, and then we can, if anyone has any questions at the end, I'm happy to come back and talk through anything. So let's click the first question, just to kind of get into one. So we see that it's an adult minor guardianship question. The client says that their parents filed a petition for guardianship for their son, who's 6 years old. They want to claim that the client is unstable. And so how does she stop this? And then, so that was the subject. More of the information is, you can see her name. She got a petition that was filed against her for guardianship of her son, who's 6 years old. And she's saying that she thinks her parents are doing that because she's a gay woman, and what can you do to help? So you can see that she also included an image. So one really neat feature about Illinois Free Legal Answers is that clients can upload documents, pictures, PDFs, so that an attorney can review it. And so we've seen volunteers do a lot of neat things through that. Clients who upload their lease and the attorney reviews their lease for them, or maybe a contract, and sometimes the attorney will download the contract, mark that up, and upload it back so that the client can see that and be able to either go back to their landlord or whoever the contract is with, to say, these are things that I want to talk about, I want to change. So we see that this client included an image. So let's take a look at that just to see. So it's the notice of motion, basically, that the client filed, or that the client received in the mail. So if we wanted to answer this question, we would click, I want to answer this question. what that does is that it pulls it out of the queue so no one else can answer that question. So now only you as a volunteer can answer that question. You can either click answer now or answer later. Answer later just means maybe you have some research to do or something that you wanted to do, or you had time to pick a question, but you're going to answer it later today or tomorrow or something. Once you click the I want to answer the question and pull it from the queue, you have 3 days to answer the question. And then if you don't answer it in 3 days, it just goes automatically back into the queue for another volunteer to answer. So, and if at any time you decide, you know what, I took this question, but it really wasn't a good fit for me, you can click, I want to return this question into the queue, and then it just goes back into the queue. So let's click answer now. So we won't be really answering this question, but we'll just do an example. So some tips that we have for answering questions. So I like to say, we don't really know the experience of the client that is asking the question. So I always try to include an empathetic or kind greeting, just understanding that they're going through a difficult situation. So, dear Lanika, sorry to hear about this difficult situation. And then, keep in mind it is a electronic platform. So keep in mind to have a little bit more of an empathetic voice of understanding. A lot of times what clients want to know is that they've been heard, that you are understanding of their situation, and then helping them a little bit with the process and some legal advice. So then, you jump into explaining a little bit about the options that they have. Maybe they can hire an attorney for the case. A lot of the clients that have come through Free Legal Answers, they've already tried traditional legal aid. Maybe they've already tried to talk to an attorney, and they just can't afford any services. So we try to limit the amount of real referrals that we make or suggestions that they get an attorney, unless it's a case where you really need one, because most of these clients are not able to afford an attorney, or for whatever reason aren't able to fit through legal aid. So that's when we give them a little bit more information, advice about the process, so that they can challenge the guardianship. For guardianship, that your parents have to show that you're not fit or not able to care for your child, and some of the things that might be associated with that. I know that all of you are judges or retired judges, so you may not need this, but Illinois Legal Aid Online is a really great resource to either for you to brush up on something, some information, but also to direct a client to, sometimes they have really great guides or really great motion preparers. So sometimes we could just type in guardianship and find some information that might be helpful to send to the client. So maybe there's an article or something that might be helpful to send. So I always like to plug Illinois Legal Aid Online. And you can also include links. So if you did find a really good article or of a resource, you can directly copy and paste that link into your response for the client to look through. So we would include legal advice. Maybe there's a form or statute or document that or resource that you know of that you can hyperlink. You can also attach different files if there's some sort of document that would be helpful to attach. And then the other thing to keep in mind when you're writing an answer is We don't know the education level or background of the client. So trying to keep aim for maybe like a 5th or 6th grade reading level, avoiding legalese as much as you can, and trying to be as much plain language, shorter sentences, that sort of thing. And then the final thing I like to say is that it is nice to include your name at the end of the response. I wouldn't do your full name. There's no, you don't need to do that, but just, best, and then your first name. That I think that just shows that the client, that there is a human being on the other end, and then you can have a back and forth with that client, if possible, if you'd want, or if the client reads it and asks a follow-up. So you can attach any attachment. There's also a really neat tool where you can add your hours. So if you took, an hour to do this question, to answer it, you could include that. And at the end of the year, Free Legal Answers will tally all of that for you, so that if you wanted to know how many pro bono hours that you conducted through Free Legal Answers, they have that there. And so really, then you would click submit, and you would have answered the client's question. Once you do click submit, which I'm not going to do right now, there would be an option to either keep your question open or to close the question. Closing the question means that there's no need for a response. You don't want a response from the client. Keeping it open just means that there is a chance for the client to respond, for you to have a back and forth with them. And if you do that, then there's a 10-day window when the client has the opportunity to respond. And then you would have, if the client responded, then you would have another 10 days. And that 10-day window is open until either you manually close it, or on the 10th day, the system will automatically close the question. So I'm going to return this question back to the queue, which I said you could do it at any time. So we'll do that. And then a couple other quick things as I wrap up my quick demonstration of this. Pili also has some training resources that might be helpful for you. There's a 14-minute video demonstrating a lot of what I just said already, but if you need another recap or some quicker videos, we have some frequently asked questions that we see from litigants on the site, and then some other resources that might be helpful as you're responding to questions. There's also a question history page where you can see the questions that you've answered already. So if there's a similar question that you see and you have already answered someone last week, you can go through and do some copying and pasting, quick edits to maybe fit that situation. There's a frequently asked question page that goes through a little bit more about the site navigation and the process of selecting a question. You're logging your hours that would show how many hours you've logged on the site. And then there's also a subscription page. So you can also subscribe to receive alerts whenever a question in a particular category comes up. So look, I have a civil appeal category. So anytime a question comes in that's in the civil appeals category, I get an email that alerts me to that. We only get about 2 or 3 civil appeal questions a week. So you probably wouldn't want to do that for family law, because we get, 10 or so questions a day. And basically anytime you log in, there's plenty of family law questions to choose from. But if you're, have background in immigration law and you're not seeing that many questions in immigration, you may want to check the subscription to the immigration questions, and then you'll get an alert anytime a new question has been added. So that wraps up my quick overview of Illinois Free Legal Answers, but I'm happy to answer any questions or go deeper into anything that anyone on the Zoom has questions about.
Hi, yeah, this is Tom Ortball from Quincy. In terms of communicating with the client, if you were seeking further information before you determined whether to attempt to answer the question, does the site allow for that kind of dialogue where you're seeking more information, or do you just simply have to seek more information by submitting an answer that is essentially a question asking the client to clarify or provide other information?
That's a good question, and it is the latter situation. So you do have to pull it from the queue and accept the case in order to respond. But you can. What I like to say to our volunteers is, as best as you can, try to give whatever legal advice you can with the situation that the client gave you. So, with the information provided, this would be a little bit of the process. You don't have to go into too much deeper, but then I would say to ask, but really I have these questions, and if you give me the answers to these questions, I would probably be able to give you a little bit more information about the process, or maybe you need like more information about the timeline, or to include a document or something. And so you do have to pull the question from the queue in order to do that. But if you did that and for whatever reason you can't answer the question, you can flag it to us, and we can just have the client ask it again, and we can just withdraw the question that you took. But most of the time, I think that with our volunteers, if they've pulled a question and asked for a follow-up, they've been able to answer it after that.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Brent, thanks. It's Bobby Anderson. I'm from DuPage County, and I had a question. So when we respond back to the client, does the client get our personal email?
No, they don't. That's a good question. Everything is on the site. So when you respond to a question, they get an alert that an attorney, a volunteer answered their question. All they see is your response. So if you put, best Robert, that's all they would see. They wouldn't get any personal information from you. They would see, attorney 1, 2, 3, 4 answered your question. And then if you decided in that block to include your name, that they would see your name. Then if they responded, you would get an email, but they never have any of that personal information from you.
So we'd get an email from Pili?
From Free Legal Answers, from the site, basically from Pili, but from the site, alerting you that the client responded, and then you could have a back and forth.
All right, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Any other questions about the site?
Yes, I'm sorry. On the training videos, those are accessed through the Pili site or the Free Legal?
Both. Both. Okay. But we have them on our website, on pili.org.
Okay.
Under if you didn't want to sign up for the site before you did the videos, under resources and then for Pili volunteers, we have a Illinois Free Legal Answers resources, and the password is just IFLA, the number 4, and PILI, and I'll put that in the chat.
I'm sorry, could you give me that again?
Yep, I'll put it in the chat. So it's
all right.
IFLA, Illinois Free Legal Answers, IFLA, the number 4, and then PILI. And if anyone on the video or wherever viewing this, you can email me or email info@Pili, and we'll give that to you. It's basically just so that clients don't get to this, but any attorney volunteer can access that. And so then we have those videos on this site as well. So either once you sign up through Free Legal Answers, it's on the training resources or on Pili's website under resources.
Thank you.
Any other questions in the chat or on the Zoom?
This is Judge Crowder. I just wanted to thank you for the information and everybody for participating. I'm traveling, so trying to do this remotely.
Well, thank you, Judge Crowder, and thank you, everyone. So I hope that encourages you to visit IllinoisFreeLegalAnswers.org. I'll put that in the chat also to sign up under the attorney registration. If you had any other questions or ever have any questions or issues with the site, my email address is bpage@pili.org, and you can reach out to me there, and I'm happy to help you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.